Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, so this new DLC is getting hammered in reviews. It's not going so well. It's not going so well. Yeah, so basically hidden amongst the tepid and generally pretty bad focuses and features of the new DLC, there is a nation that has a pretty outstanding focus tree path that we can go down. And today, that's going to be the focus of what we'll be doing. We'll be going back to the past, looking to the past for inspiration to dominate World War II. And we're going to be doing that today as the Persian Empire. Okay, well, here we are. We're in Iran, but we're going to need to make some changes and pretty quick. Yeah, this just ain't going to do. We're going to have to fundamentally change this nation. So, to start out, we're led by the Shah here, Shah Pahlavi here. He's the dynasty founder. Stats are just kind of meh. We also have the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which isn't super great. Most of our resources go to the market. Not so good. We have rural feudalism, which is just terrible. We also have Islamic traditions, which is really hurting our research speed, so we're going to have to address that. We also have Azerbaijani resistance and Kurdish resistance, both of which are killing our stability and our war support. Just killing it, so we're going to have to address that ASAP. First and foremost, we're going to have to figure out what the heck we're going to do here. Okay, hopping into the focus tree, we have a very big, chunky focus tree, which is good and bad in equal measure. It's good that we have a lot of variety here, that we can kind of decide the future of our country. We can go right, we can go kind of republic, we can go left. We can go back to the past, which is going to be our focus today with the Persian Empire. But on top of all this and a ticking time clock, we have our industry here, our army, air force, and navy here on the far right. A big problem with this DLC is a good portion of these focuses for all the nations are 70-day focuses. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. And by the time you get down to where you need to be, you're already looking at 1939, 1940, and you've barely gotten your feet under you. Now, starting to look at our research here, my oh my, we only have 2 research slots, and because we have Islamic traditions and feudalism, we're taking a 15% hit to our research speed, which is pretty ungodly. Now, we do have an army. It is a tiny army, but we do have an army. Let's go ahead and park them on the border with Iraq. It doesn't really matter. Currently our templates that we're rocking with are your standard 18 with infantry and 18 with cavalry, so that's fine. We also have political units here, garrison units with MPs. We already have military police research, but it can be pretty handy for dealing with garrisons. So we're going to be using these guys a fair amount. Okay, starting down our path here, we're going to need to start out with the Legacy of Greatness, which this is good and bad. One of which is going to give us some more political power and boost our construction speed of our civilian factories, which is awesome. The problem is, all the people in the country are not going to like the fact that the Shah is giving himself more power, and so it's going to start a civil war mechanic. Okay, so now we've completed Legacy of Greatness, we have a civil war that's imminent in a year. We're going to have a coup. So we're going to need to figure out how the hell we're going to deal with that. And the way we deal with that is we come over here and we do assessing the opposition. This is going to give us options to add time to that ticking time clock and eventually get over the Civil War threat. So we just have to bite the 70-day focus it is to get there. So since we have Islamic traditions, we take a big hit to the cost of our political advisors. There's a 25% increase to the cost of them, which really sucks. I am, however, going to, since we got more political power coming in, go ahead and spend, even though it's a ton, 187 of that on the silent workhorse. That's just going to give us 15% extra political power gain, and we're going to need a lot of political power for what we're planning. Now that we've assessed the opposition, we can actually come in here and see what we need to do to get over the Civil War threat. We only have 295 days left before the coup happens. We get to 100 political power, we can dissolve Parliament. That will add 75 days to the mission. Easy peasy. These other two are a little bit tougher. To build economic credibility, we need to have a certain number of factories. It doesn't say civilians, so military factories count as well. So we need at least 12. or actually more than 12. And then as for our military prowess, we need at least 80,000 manpower in the field. So, and currently we are only rocking 53,000. So the problem is we don't really have guns or anything like that, so we'll have to address that too. All right, so we need factories ASAP to get over our Civil War issues. So the quickest way to deal with that is to come over here and pick up a modernizing Iran. This is going to give us construction speed boost, and then we can come down here and grab some of these factories. Okay, well, we have enough military force now. We can go ahead and improve our military prowess. That's going to give us 75 more days to ticking time clock here. Now we just lacking on factories. And now that we have enough military factories, let's go ahead and hit the final button here, and we'll prove our economic credibility. When all of these are done, we'll be over the Civil War. Okay, now that we have our third research slot, I'm going to go ahead and start the unification initiative. This is going to hurt our stability for a whole year, which is, you know, not great. But as soon as we get that done, then we'll be able to come down here and clamp down on both the Kurdish and the Azerbaijani dissidents here. And we'll be able to remove both of those mechanics, giving us like 20% stability, which is huge. Okay, let's finally go ahead and hire a chief of the army. Let's pick the army offense guy. We're going to need him here pretty soon. Okay, now that we've clapped down on resistance, we actually have a functioning state again, so our stability isn't completely terrible, and we actually have war support, which is pretty darn useful indeed. So we've got a few things we can do. There's some good stuff in your industry branch. I'm not going to hold your hand. You can go through here and pick up those things if you want. Alternatively, you can go over here and try to either work on an Air Force early, which I would recommend, or continue down your army tree. There's some stuff here to get some free factories and things to that nature. But what I'm going to do next is go ahead and start going down the left side of this tree. We're going to start out with the assassination of the Shah. Yes, the Shah has overlived his usefulness, and yes, he needs to get it going. Oh no, the Shah was assassinated. Sad day. Yes. So we've gotten rid of the Shah, and now his son, Muhammad, is the legitimate heir of the nation, and is a much better leader. Just looking at stats here, political power gain 10% and extra stability. Hell yeah. All right, let's go ahead and proclaim the Third Persian Empire. In order to secure the future of the people, Muhammad Reza Pahlavi here has announced the formation of the Third Persian Empire, which aims to emulate and respect the history of ancient predecessors. The Third Persian Empire is here, and I do like the new color. I think it looks pretty good. And we got a new flag, which is pretty neat. Now, before we look at expanding outward, and we need to worry about that here pretty soon, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and pick up maybe both of these, but certainly the one here on the left, the Shabanu, I guess is how you would say that, as an advisor here. So our leader needs to get married, and so we need to choose a wife. And I would highly recommend you do this. There's some pretty good options here as political advisors go. Okay, so we need to choose a wife, and we've got a few options here. All of them are good in their own ways. I usually pick the top option because we're going to be dealing with stability issues a good portion of the run. All right, now that it's January 38, we need to get it going on our territorial expansion because the clock is ticking, and we need to align things in just a way that when Iraq does its historical focus and turns briefly fascist, and we're going to need to jump on that as quickly as possible. In order to get where we need to go, we need to start out with Imperial expansion. This is going to increase our recruitable pop, which is certainly useful as population is a problem. We're going to follow it up with the Tehran-Moscow Pact. We can also potentially establish the Immortals, and then we'll go down to claim territory in both Iraq and Afghanistan. We can't be the Persian Empire without bringing back the Immortals. The Immortals were some of the most iconic troops fielded by the Persian Empire of old. As we usher in a new age of imperial greatness, it's time to reestablish the Immortals. And indeed we will. Okay, we do have Immortals now, which gives us a free template, which, it's fine. It's your standard 21 width combat troops here, so pretty good. First and foremost, let's go ahead and demand that the Iraqis give us some territory. We have claims on a few provinces in Iraq, and we're going to say, hey, we want it, or there could be war. They're more likely to accept it if we have a bigger military, which I think we do. And, you know, no surprise here, Iraq has agreed to our demands. It's actually better if they don't agree because you get a free war goal, but nevertheless, we got what we wanted at the end of the day. Those fools. And what would you know, hey, Afghanistan and this folds like a cheap suit as well. And, thank you. Welcome to the Empire, boys. So now, as the Persian Empire, we've got some pretty cool war plans here. War plan Xerxes, Darius, and Camses, I guess. Yeah, so these are going to give us war goals on a good portion of land here. What's a pretty cool thing about it is they're only 35-day focuses, which is pretty good, being that most of the focuses are 70 days in this DLC. So, first and foremost, we're going to want to focus on Camses here, most likely, as we're getting closer to the start of World War II. This is going to give us war goals on Iraq and the United Kingdom. Yeah, spoilers, we're going to have to go to war with the Allies. Okay, so Iraq's done the thing it does now, and they have switched governments to al-Muthana Iraq here. So they've gone fascist, which I guess is historic or close to historic, I suppose. So anyways, the British are eventually going to go to war with Iraq. When Iraq goes to war with them, they're going to try to join the Axis, which hopefully we can get in on that war as soon as possible. All right, being that it's May and the Allies are already at war with Iraq, we're going to go ahead and speed up our plans a little bit and do war plan Camses here and get our war goal on Iraq. Okay, Germany's done the thing. WW2 is kicked off. So we don't want to get involved with that just yet. We'll probably join the Axis, but we're going to wait until roughly 40 when they go in against France. They'll call in the Italians, and that will be our moment. We'll come in from the east, going west to grab the Levant, and Italy will come in, hopefully not screw everything up, trying to get to Cairo. Okay, we've surrounded Baghdad, just about to fall. And then we are going to focus on pushing through the Levant and all the way to the sea. Fall of Paris. So the good thing about declaring war on Syria and Lebanon right now is they're French territories, French colonies. And so if once France surrenders and they create Vichy France, it's very likely these two territories will become Vichy France puppets. With a governmental switch and everything, and so it'll be very difficult for them to be gobbled up by us later, so it's just easier to knock them out early. Kuwait has capitulated. Make sure you guard those coastlines. Okay, so this is frustrating. So despite having brought Syria and Lebanon into the war, and we were already taking some of their territory, once France capitulated, they still gave them the puppet to Vichy France, so that's pretty annoying. Now this gap is pretty bad for supplies, so we just need to push through as quickly as we can with our fast units and see if we can get these supply hubs. It's going to be kind of a nightmare, but that's what you have to do. Fighting this neck of the woods, fighting this neck of the world is pretty annoying because it's not if, but when you will be hit by constant sandstorms. Really, really annoying. Make sure you leave some troops behind on ports because, yeah, British are going to do what the British are going to do. Yeah, it looks like Italy's doing about as well as Italy usually does in the Horn of Africa, so we're going to like push down if we can and try to give them some help here. The British are pretty much taken by surprise, so we're just pushing aggressively down into Upper Egypt here. Okay, now that we have the Memphis initiative complete here, we can actually start coring out territory. Unfortunately, the Italians took Alexandria up here, and so we'll have to try to snipe that off of them in the peace conference if we can get that far. But anyways, for these other territories, we can start coring that out, and that's really good because we are struggling with manpower in a big way. So it does require a lot of PP, but it's not really a problem as Persia. So yeah, so just start coring out this territory. Okay, we just finished coring that territory out, and we showed up to 1 million in reserve, which is awesome. And of course, just as soon as we did that, Germany's like, hey, the Pipers come calling. We want some manpower. I normally don't do this, but you know, a Germany that you can support with some manpower will do better long term. So I gotta go ahead and do that. What the hell? Okay, well, we've made pretty good gains here in Ethiopia. We're just cleaning up the pockets of resistance, what's left. Helping Italy not lose the Horn of Africa is good for us overall. So yeah, we want to try to help our friends succeed if we can. We need to seize the ports and the supply hub as quickly as we can because the supply here is terrible out in the middle of the desert. That's okay. We just completed specialized desert training for our troops, so we do actually do fairly well in desert combat now, so that will certainly help us as we push through with our immortals. Speaking of the immortals, I have made a couple changes, nothing too major, certainly not the most optimal of infantry, but with our bonuses that we're getting to desert warfare, I think these guys, they're doing just fine. Excellent. Saudi Arabia has capitulated. Fantastic. We just need to clean up these pockets and push all the way to the end of the Arabian Peninsula. We do have a ton more territory that we can start to core out, so as we take more of the Arabian Peninsula and India, we can certainly do that. So let's continue to do that again. We're going to be using so much political power. It is what it is. Yeah, Germany wants us to join the war in the Soviet Union, but I have no intention of doing that anytime soon. We have far too much to do in India and in the Arabian Peninsula still, and we're still cleaning up the Allied stain that was Ethiopia here, so yeah. Now I'm going to start recruiting more troops for the border because I believe the Soviet Union does have an option to go to war with Iran. They do have a war goal through their focus tree. And usually about like 40, like late 41, early 42, they usually do that. So we're just going to go ahead and train up another 24 army stack here just so we can park them on the border of the Soviet Union. I don't trust them at all, of course. And at some point, they're going to drag us into the war regardless if we want to or not. Alright, we've just about taken Djibouti, and now they've lost their only port left, so let's go ahead and crush this little pocket of resistance, and, rinse and repeat. As we continue to core more territory and acquire more factories, actually I have more factories than we really need at the moment, though we are still running a little bit of a deficit. I'm going to be switching to building airplanes. I know it's 1941, and we're just now starting to figure out how an airplane works, but yeah, it is what it is. Excellent. The British Raj has just tipped over, so yeah, look at that, boys. The Persian Empire conquers all. And we've just taken Kyiv. Excellent. You know what's funny is, as I'm trying to build an air force, you can actually, we're at war with the UK, but apparently we can still purchase RAF planes from them, so yeah, perfectly balanced as all things are. We're just going to go ahead and buy some Luftwaffe planes. It looks like the Germans have had a little bit of a breakthrough in the Soviet Union here, so that's interesting. Yeah, I've actually done a little bit of an encirclement. Yeah, you often don't see that. And as typical, Italy is screwing up everything for the alliance, as they always do. Yeah. Alright, great. Yemen's done, so we've completely unified the Arabian Peninsula. And I thought we could core one more territory. Doesn't look like we can. That's fine. Whatever. We are doing just fine. I'm now working on war goals for Afghanistan. Once we knock them out, then we should probably enter the war and help out the Germans with the Russians. Okay, I think the Germans need our help. Yeah, Italy's screwing up this whole thing for everybody, so we're gonna have to deal with that now. So before it gets too much worse, so we're gonna go ahead and join the war against the Soviet Union. Okay, great. We've closed North Africa again. For the Italians, it looks like they're starting to take back Sicily. Sure. I don't trust the Italians to not lose, so yeah. Okay, we've almost cleaned up, almost cleaned up Azerbaijan here. If we can get to the dang port. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab the war plan Xerxes here. Xerxes was the fourth king of kings of the Achaemenid Empire and related to both Darius and Cyrus the Great. So we're going to go ahead and grab this war plan. It's going to give us, attack and defense bonus against Turkey for 730 days, which isn't all that interesting. But it's going to allow us to work down here and to reintegrate the Anatolian territories. So it's likely Turkey's going to join the Allies anyway, but whatever. I want to work our way down to glorifying Cyrus the Great. Soviet resistance is pretty tepid right now. We've destroyed a good portion of their forces down here, and they're having to redirect forces. Looks like the Germans are making a new push through the motherland. So yeah, if we can get to Astrakhan, that'd be much better. Then we can basically kind of cut and isolate this entire region, try to work up to Stalingrad. Italy, why do you continue to be the way you are? Why? Why? Things are going okay, and you have to keep screwing it up. Yeah, Italy's not having a good day. I hate to move my troops out of North Africa, but we don't have any naval ships to speak of, and these guys are going to get convoy raided to hell. But yeah, Italy needs help in Italy, or yeah, they're gonna destabilize the whole North African front, and we can't have that. Looks like our Persian immortals are doing fairly well, pushing the enemy back. Even in low supply, these guys hit pretty hard. Wow, we can just integrate so much territory. It is insane. Going to be integrating Georgia and Obskia, I guess. Germans have just about grabbed Sevastopol, so if we can cut this line here, that'd be good. Now we do have our war goals on Turkey. We are not ready to deal with that at the moment. And we're going to go ahead and also reintegrate the Anatolian territory. This is going to allow us to core Turkey's territory. The German AI, I guess, has finally woken up, and they're actually playing the win this thing. So, yeah, either that or the Soviets are just rolling really bad. But, yeah, they're doing pretty well. Almost to Moscow, and we are coming up from the south towards Stalingrad. Oh, we have taken Stalingrad. It is ours. And we're already out of commanders. I've already promoted one field commander, and would you look at it, the damn portraits are exactly the same. What is happening, Paradox? Alright, well, I guess his twin brother is going to get promoted. Just as I think everything's going fine, the British do what the British always do. They have endless numbers of troops and instant naval invasions, as the Allied armies always have. And of course, there's always a sandstorm. It's so much fun to fight in North Africa. So I'm going to have to peel forces off of the Turkish front. Okay, we can work our way down finally. Now we can unlock the glory of Cyrus the Great. With our goals complete and land safely secured under Persian sovereignty, we have brought a new era of prosperity to the Third Persian Empire. Indeed we have. And so our leader is going to get a bunch of new bonuses here. Wow, that is a lot of stability modification there. Holy cow. Defense on core territory, 10%, annexation goal. Oh, look at this. And we get a bunch of new cores. Just lovely. And we're crushing what's left of the Soviet resistance here in the east. Persian immortals doing the heavy lifting. That's a decent pocket. We're going to send Blue Army to Italy and see if we can give them a little bit of help. All right, let's go ahead and bring the Yellow Army back to the Turkish front. Our other troops need some help. All right, we need to retake Rome for the second time. All right, we actually have supply again, so that's good. And we just work down the spine of the boot, crush all these Allied troops along the way. All right, we've unlocked Glory of Cyrus the Great. Yes, our leader, that is some healthy bonuses he's got there. He truly is the modern Cyrus. Fall of Moscow. Excellent. And it looks like we have more Allied naval landings, but they're getting crushed easily. We had a breakaway state, a breakaway fascist state in the Persian Empire. Wait, what the hell is this? And yes, if you ever turn your back on the Allied AI, they will just continuously naval invade, so we're still dealing with very crappy North Africa. Well, we've almost cleaned up this pocket in the Benelux area. Literally, you can't trust the Italian AI to do a damn thing correct, so you're always saving their ass. Okay, we're saving Italy's bacon for the 15th time, so we've finally taken the port again, so that's good. Just waiting for supply to re-engage, and then we can crush this Allied pocket. Oh, big lag spike, and just like that, the Soviet Union has tipped over. We've kicked in the door, and the whole rotten structure has come falling through. So, excellent. That's great. Yeah, so now we can focus on the Allies and get this war over. Let's see what we can take. We have a few points, not many, unfortunately. Alright, well, the peace conference with the Soviet Union is complete, and I would say that we got a pretty good chunky deal out of that. The Third Persian Empire is quite vast now, and I was able to go ahead and grab the Soviet fleet, so we're looking pretty good there. And just like that, we have proclaimed the Great Persian Empire. Look at it, we are mighty. You can breach Afghanistan if you use enough artillery, apparently. Alright, well there it is, its final form, the Great Persian Empire. There's a few more states we could have taken here in Syria and Lebanon, but that was on me, as, you know, it just was a little late to the game trying to get those territories claimed before Vichy France entered the war. But overall, I feel like we've done pretty darn well. We have quite a bit of territory under control now. The only kind of holdback is that even with the Soviet Navy, it's pretty small, and we really don't have naval supremacy in order to take out the home fleet of the United Kingdom and help the Germans do naval landings in England. At least it would take a minute, just put it that way. We could try to get some more ships through other means and everything to try to do that. But even if we took out the UK at this point, America is in the war and would take over the alliance. And I'm not too keen on sailing across the Atlantic Ocean to take on America, particularly late game America. So I think this is probably where we're going to go ahead and cut today's episode. I have had a lot of fun playing as Iran. I didn't think I would, actually. Most of the countries in the new country pack aren't all that much fun to play, honestly. And Iran typically isn't, but if you go back to the past and reform the Persian Empire, it's pretty fun. And you get a ton of cores on territory through the Middle East and the Arabian Peninsula, Africa, elsewhere, even in the Soviet Union. So you can really, I mean, you need it because you have so little manpower anyway, but, 188 factories, a million men in reserve still, and we have, like 1.5 million man armies, so we're doing pretty good. We've been keeping the Axis afloat, and really it's at this point, with the Soviet Union gone, and Japan doing reasonably well in the East, it's only a matter of time before we win the war ultimately. But, yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have, consider liking and then subbing to the channel for more Hearts of Iron content to come in the near future. Anyways, I've been Greg the Gamer. Hope everyone has a terrific day, and I'll be back with you soon. Take care.